Hello, and welcome to the next installment of Cooking by the Book. My name is Douglas, a librarian from Baltimore County Public Library, and this is the series where I run into the collection, find a cookbook, we try a recipe, and see if it works. Today, we are using Plant-Based India by Dr. Shak, and we are making butternut squash Chana new Shak. So put your seatbelt on and get ready. We're going to start cooking now. This book could seem intimidating. There are a lot of spices here that some of you may not be familiar with. But the great thing about spices is we can learn to use them and they make wonderful flavor profiles. The trick is, remember, start small and little. You can never be underspiced, but you can always be overspiced. The great thing about this cookbook is Dr. Shak has a section at the beginning explaining all of the spices and how they will add to the dish. The other thing that he does is some of the spices are optional. So if you can't find those, you can certainly leave those out. I'm going to try some new things. I'm going to be using asafoetida. It punches up the flavors of other spices. I'm also using carom seeds, which are in the fennel seed family. I've never used them. He did say a little goes a long way, so I'm only using a 1/4 teaspoon, and we're going to see how that adds to the dish. We're going to be tempering first by heating olive oil and throwing in the seeds and letting them brown a little, and that's going to create the chalk. So for this recipe, I used dried chana or dried garbanzo beans. I have soaked them overnight so that they reconstitute. So that's one step you need to do the night before, is make sure you use a 1/3 cup of dried chana and soak it overnight, and they should be fine when you're ready to cook. Right now I've heated a tablespoon of olive oil. I am adding a teaspoon of cumin seeds. And I am adding a 1/4 teaspoon of the carom seeds. And I'm just going to give this a few seconds. I made sure that the olive oil was hot first. And now I'm just going to stir them around and let them have a second or two to release. And they're already releasing their flavor. I can smell it right here. They are just bursting. And now I am going to add 2 cups of water. I'm adding my 1/3 cup of reconstituted chickpeas. I am adding 1 tablespoon of minced ginger and 4 minced garlic cloves. And just a pinch of asafoetida. And then what we're going to do is we're going to let this boil for 10 minutes. That should make the chickpeas a little bit tender, and then we'll go on to our next step. We're going to add a few more spices, and then we are going to add this lovely butternut squash. I got this butternut squash from a friend's garden. Getting food from a friend is always good, because if the dish doesn't work out, blame the friend. We are going to add 1 teaspoon of turmeric. We have 1 teaspoon of garam masala. Garam masala is an Indian spice blend. You can find recipes on how to make it yourself. I have an already prepared garam masala, and if you go to different Indian groceries, they might have slight variations, but this is what we want, just 1 teaspoon. We also want a pinch, and when I say a pinch, of cayenne pepper. Cayenne pepper can easily overwhelm a dish if you're not used to something really spicy. You want to start small with cayenne pepper. You can always add more if you want it more spicy, but you want to start with little first. I'm just going to pinch a little bit in there and maybe 1 more little pinch because I like a little spice, but not too much. And then we have 1 medium butternut squash that I peeled and chopped. Sometimes you can get the butternut squash already peeled and chopped for you. I just like to add as much work as possible, so I just went at it for about a half an hour, but you don't have to watch all that. And I'm just going to give this a stir, and we cook this for 20 minutes until the butternut squash is tender, and that's about it, and then we'll be ready to serve. And we're done. A steaming bowl of spiced butternut squash. I'm just going to add a little pinch of chopped up cilantro, and I'm going to add a little squeeze of lime, just to kind of add just a little tang of citrus. And there we have it. I think this is going to be fantastic. It was easy. The ingredients were easy to get, it was easy to make, and it's incredibly healthy because there is really nothing in there that we shouldn't be eating. I think this is going to make a wonderful fall dish. So for Plant-Based India by Dr. Shak, I'm going to give this 2 thumbs up. Some of the spices may be harder to get, but it's going to be worth it in the end. I hope you get out there and get cooking and find some butternut squash and try this on your own.